Welcome back to Season 2 of Off Hours with Bourbon Lens. This is Jake, and I am joined this year with a co-host, Jake Ireland of Off Hours. So we are excited to bring back another season after a successful Season 1 from last summer. So Jake, thanks for having us back and hosting Off Hours with Bourbon Lens Season 2 with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited for Season 2.
Yeah, man, it's been great. We're recording these all out of order, but you know what we have now is we've got a collection of guests that are outside of the bourbon and whiskey, area, and it's exciting because we're getting to see your relationships with your friends, and expanding even past that into people we don't know, and some cool opportunities. So, what's it been like so far as we've recorded to get all this ready and launch Season 2 here?
It's been great. I think it's interesting just the different dynamics of the guests that we've had on here and what their backgrounds are and what they do for a living, and just sort of the reoccurring theme that we're continuing to see with how these people are spending their downtime, their off hours, what they enjoy. And, and I think what we find out too is because of everybody's different careers and the hours that they do get, and just sort of those little moments in between, we call them, how they're able to take advantage of those, whether those are, in the morning, in the evening, between opportunities. It's just really interesting to see how everybody sort of relates to each other in that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's been really cool to see that everybody's just a person. I think so many times we believe that these people that are famous or have gone to do big things are any different than the normal person. And yes, they may have more means sometimes than the normal person, but they deal with the same stuff. One of the things I think that's been interesting that people will see is when we interviewed Bruce, former baseball player, the first 10 minutes we talk about coaching and what it's like to be involved in your son's life after having a prolific career, whether that is in the pros or you in college and, me in football in college. It doesn't matter. It was really interesting to hear that perspective. That was one of the things I thought was very interesting so far this season as we have recorded.
Yeah. I think with that too, and even some of the other guests where you sort of learn they're honestly in different careers. So they at a certain age, they were a professional baseball player, or they were working a different scene. And then all of a sudden they've now grown to a different scale, or they've retired and now they're doing, the next career. What's the next thing after, life after baseball. And it's interesting to see how you kind of jump back into things and, what that day-to-day life is like when all you've ever known, for your entire life was baseball, was practice, was traveling, was games, and just the grind of that. And now it's well, wow, I've got all this extra time on my hands. What do I do with it? And, how do I make sure that, I'm present, but I'm also fulfilling whatever it is that, keeps you happy day to day.
Yeah, it's kind of like the age-old thing as you get into that second career. What do I do with my hands when Ricky Bobby's doing his interview after his first race? You don't want to sit idle. You want to grow, and I think that's one of the themes that I really appreciate with this group of folks so far. It's not about idleness. It's finding the true moments in between, which the brand is all about. And this group of guests have done a really good job finding those moments to celebrate life, to celebrate being away from work, but also being present with their family or their loved ones around them. And I think that's a really interesting theme. It's not just, hey, turn off your cell phone like it was last season.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what the cool part is. The first season, having guests on that were, alcohol related, they were bourbon related, and, just sort of seeing how everybody within that industry, how they spend their time, or what makes everybody different there. And then when you open it up to the second season, where we've got people from all walks of life and all different backgrounds, just to sort of see how, again, there's some relatability to it. Just that really kind of has nothing to do with your background. So it's how everybody just sort of again spends time just like anybody else.
Yeah, no, I think it's been a lot of fun, and we still got a few more guests to record, so we can't dive into everything. So we did give one, guest away in Jay, and we won't deliver any more spoilers. But I will say it is a cast of characters with great stories, big name people. If you're a foodie, there's some people that you probably recognize. And it's been a lot of fun to interview those folks. But with every good episode, we would do a disservice if we didn't talk about what we're doing in our off hours right now, right? Like that would make season 2 kickoff pretty bad if we didn't do that. So, it's been a while since me and you have actually caught up and talked about the things outside of work. We actually have had a lot of work-related conversations lately, as off hours is expanding and growing, and just getting perception of kind of where you all could go. It's been fun to work that way. But what's going on with you and Lauren and the family?
Yeah, we've been busy. We are going to be traveling a little bit coming up here soon. We've got a wedding over in Europe, so we are leaving here shortly.
Beautiful.
So we'll be gone and just the two of us are going. So it's the first time we've left the kids back in a while. So it'll be nice to get away for a few days and enjoy some time over there. And then, just kind of been in the thick of it with work too. And if it's not work, if we've got some family in and out of town. Also, my son's he's in baseball right now, so I'm coaching his team. So usually weekends and Mondays are our games and practices and everything. So I've got that. And then our daughter, Ella, she is just on the move nonstop. So there's not a whole lot of time to really sit down and relax. So we're just trying to take those few moments here and there to get a few minutes to catch our breath and figure out what we need to be doing.
Yeah, no, hey, completely hear that. Last night my wife and I sat down in some Adirondack chairs. That's just a fun word to say, so I just had to say it. And we were outside. My son was full energy. And he'll tell you he's 3.5. That is his deal. He's not 3 anymore. He's a big kid and he's 3.5. And he had a bunch of energy. And a dog was out back, and we look at each other and they start just chasing each other around. And he's like throwing the ball, and I'm like, this is why we bought a big dog. And then we actually had a conversation. It was like the moment inside the chaos allowed us to have, a little bit of time and just enjoy a little bit of the three of us, right? Because we're have a little baby girl, Penelope, in September. Great. So we're super excited to welcome her. And so it's like the last time the three of us are getting a summer together. And so excited about the family expanding. But it's finding the moments in the tornado that is a toddler.
Does your toddler know that he's going to have a little sister here soon?
Yes, he is very excited. He asks mom every day, "Is Penelope in your belly?" And she goes, "Yes." And she goes, "Do you want to talk to her?" And then he'll like say, "Hi, Penelope." And so it's really cute. He doesn't get that his mom can't be a punching bag like dad can be, though. So we're like having to really, like get him away, because he's, boys are just rough and tumble most of the time. Mm-hmm. And he is the epitome of that. And it's a lot of fun. Other than that, things are fun. With that, we're trying to plan a baby moon because, you travel when you have a child, and we're going to Florida coming up. So we do got a little bit of travel happening ourselves, and before we know it, it's going to be September. So, getting the house ready. The house smells like Dreft. If you don't know, that's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like the smell of the baby detergent is just great. And makes the house smell good. So that happened this weekend, was laundry and Dreft. And so big fan of that.
There you go. Yeah. It's a game changer. You're, like you said, it's going to be here before you know it. And then, life with two, it's a lot different. But at the same time, you look back and you're like, wow, what did we do before? And then it's like, even when you had one kid, you're like, what did we do when we didn't have kids? And it's like, it's always something. But
do you remember what you did before you had kids? Because we had the conversation last night and we couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, honestly, it was like, how did we have so much time on our hands? And, why did we complain about things back then? It's like, and then it's like you have one and you're kind of like, oh, that was a game changer, just to really have some responsibility. And then, when you have two, it's sort of any time away goes, out the window pretty quickly. Yeah. We're
definitely dealing with that. And I just praise my mom for Disney Vacation Club. Like, I'm glad that she did that. So for our family. So we'll be able to go. We have a set place where we can show up every year, and it's just pay the maintenance fee and roll with it. So that's been.
We actually just took our son for his 6th birthday to Disneyland this past week. So the last time we had been there was when he was 2, which was a totally different experience.
Oh yeah.
When he was that young, you couldn't really do a whole lot. And I think we were there for like 2 hours. Like it was, and I feel like it's always like the hottest day of the year and it's the most crowded and everything. You're just like, oh, get me out of here. But this year it was great. He was 6. He had one of his good buddies come with him. And the weather was nice and it wasn't too crowded. It was on a weekday. It wasn't too crowded. So it was a lot of fun. So now he's ready to go back, every other weekend.
Yeah. So what's your favorite ride at Disney?
We started with Space Mountain right off the bat.
Oh yeah.
And, him and his friend, they're both the exact same. They're actually their birthdays are a day apart. So they're both turning 6. And I asked them, like, do you want to go on a fast roller coaster? Do you want to pretty chill? What do you want to do? And we're fast. So we jump on this thing. It's in the dark, and it's by far for that area of Disneyland, the biggest, fastest roller coaster. And they got off of it and it was like, never again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I think we want to try the slower ones. Like, all right. So we set the bar pretty high, but I think I'm a big fan of roller coasters. I've always been. So it's good to see my son. He's kind of into it. But I think, that one spooked him a little bit. So we'll see.
Yeah. I did my son wasn't big enough for Space Mountain. So I did it by myself. And if you're tall, that's just not the roller coaster you want to be on because you can't see what's happening. And I feel like I was ducking the entire time, like through the roller coaster. So like, I feel like if you're over 6 foot, you just need to let that one just slide and just not do it. But big Barnstormer fan, which is the one in Orlando. So the goofy coaster, it's not very crazy. My son will do that one on repeat, and the line's never too busy there. So that's typically what we ride is the Barnstormer like 30 times.
There you go.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt. Like wooden roller coasters hurt. This is a nice metal one. It's smooth. It's all those things. Did Cedar Point one time. That was the worst headache I've ever had in my life.
That's the real deal. Those things, yeah. Those coasters are another level.
Yeah. Well, once he turns of age, he's going to read about it or watch a YouTube, and he's going to be like, "Hey, can we go to Scranton, Ohio?"
I've been dying to go to Scranton, Ohio.
Yeah, I really just want to go hang out at Dunder Mifflin, is what I do, and go see Cedar Point. Yeah, it's super super crazy. And at one of the roller coasters, you can actually see. Like into Canada, I believe. I think that's what it is because you're so high up. Wow. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Jeez.
But moving in, so like moving on. When you think about balancing time now as your daughter's getting older and getting into things as well, like what's that look like? Because we were just chatting before this. Lauren has a pretty loose, probably schedule, but like has to get a lot accomplished as you do as well. Like, how do you all balance that, both being working parents and making sure you're getting time with your kids and they're getting attention? Because I always say the best thing you can do for kids is be intentional with them. Like if you're involved in your kid's life, they'll kind of, it'll all work itself out. What's that like for you all to kind of balance that with both successful careers?
Yeah. It's funny because we talk about this a lot, and my daily sort of routine and schedule is really polar opposites to Lauren's, and just who we are as people and how we work better. For me, I like to get up early. I like to, get a workout in and sort of get the day started by myself, and before the kids get up or anything, and really try to have some time where I can do whatever I need to do just to kind of jumpstart the day. And then that's, once the kids get up, then it's a little bit, of chaos for a little while to get out to school and everything there. And then, really from kind of getting him to school and getting back to the house or to the office, then I'm trying to like tune in and knock out everything I can. But usually by, 5 o'clock or so, or even on Mondays, he's got his baseball games. He's got to be there at 4. Luckily the fields are pretty close to our house, but really by that 4 or 5 o'clock time frame, I'm trying to wrap everything up so that way I can, get him to sports or do whatever we got to do. And then from there, it's like whether if he doesn't have practice or game or not, then it's like I'm home. I enjoy making dinner and everything like that. So we'll do that. And by the time we get the kids to bed, 7:30, 8 o'clock, whatever it be, then it's kind of like, all right, I can try to catch back up on little things if I haven't finished up what I need to for the day. But for the most part, I try to really manage everything throughout the day that is pretty realistic, and knowing that I don't want to have to work into the evening.
Yeah.
And I think Lauren is the opposite. It's like, she says she wants to be a morning person, but I've yet to see it. So, so I give her a hard time about that. But she is definitely like, she feels like her opportunity to get work done and be more creative and really kind of focus is at night after the kids are in bed. So when I'm like basically ready to just like totally tune out and just watch the game or watch whatever and fall asleep, she's like ramped up, ready to go. And I'm kind of like, it's so I always kind of give her a hard time too. It's like, I'll fall asleep. It's like, you always fall asleep so early. I'm like, well, I got up early and you slept in a little bit later, but you're also going to bed at midnight or 1 o'clock or something. And so, we both try to see each other's schedule and try to make it work however we can. But, but a lot of times too, throughout the day, we'll try to find time to go grab lunch together, or pick up our son from school. We'll try to ride together. So at least we get like, traffic in LA is not going anywhere. So, you got at least, half an hour or so in the car, to wait in line for pickup, or to even just run a quick errand or something. So where you can find just a few minutes to like, see how your day is going. What are the plans? Is there stuff you have going on tonight that, just trying to figure out what the schedule looks like, and then catch each other up on what's going on. So, you have to make those few adjustments or those few moments to find time, because if not, then it's like 3, 4, 5 days go by and you're like, oh, I never even told you about whatever it was, and or we're going to some dinner and had no idea. So so that's kind of the day to day for us.
Yeah, no, definitely completely understand that. Luckily, we share the same schedule in this house. Pretty much, we get up. Well, our son gets up at 7 and comes in just like says, "Hey, it's time to wake up, everybody." So we got our own personal alarm, which is nice. Normally we just make him lay down, and then get up at like 7:30. I need additional 30 minutes. And then she's on a normal schedule. So she's like an 8 to 4:30 kind of thing. So I just kind of make sure my day is mostly wrapped up, but I do a lot of West Coast stuff. So if there's a meeting that lingers, 2, 3, their time, I might have to take a meeting at 6 to 7, which stinks, but it is the nature of the beast from time to time. I don't do it every day. So it's been good, from a balance point that way. But like, I think just making sure you find those little moments, with your spouse or with your kid. Like I just swooped by and picked up my son from pre-K the other day early, just to be like, hey, let's hang out. Like I'm done for the day. You come home and hang out with me. And then consequently, my wife was coming home early. So it just all kind of, worked out. So finding those little pockets of time, it's not always going to be, hey, let's take this week-long getaway and have dedicated time shut down. Like longer those days until I'm probably 50. Right. So, we just got to make it work. And I think that's what's been fun as we evolve as a couple and as parents is finding how to live amongst the tornado that is children and life, and sit at the center of it versus sitting in the tornado itself.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one last question as we kind of close up today. I won't ask you the traditional question as we close. You said you like to cook. I like to cook. What is your kind of go-to recipe right now that you're like, hey, it's just been hitting. We kind of make it weekly or bi-weekly. What's been that one food that you've just kind of gone to?
We go tacos. I think it's the easiest route. I think for forever, we just always just be ground beef and everything, and kind of the same old approach. But now, we'll do fajitas, we'll do, steak or chicken or shrimp, or we'll do ground beef, and just like kind of make a big, we'll set everything out on the counter, and it's like, you got all of your, all your toppings, everything you can think of. And I think that trying to find foods that both my kids will eat, and that we'll also eat too, so you're not making 3 different things. It's been a struggle, and that's something that it works. So it's like, okay, well, we know the kids like ground beef, or they'll like chicken or something, and we'll make it so it's not so spicy or anything, so they can enjoy it. And then we'll do the whole thing for us, and it's like, well, if you don't want tortillas, then you do a salad, or you do, other ways to sort of mix it up so you don't feel like it's the same thing over and over. But I feel like you can, you can make it a lot of different ways and make it unique. And that's been the go-to, I think, just, not overly long to make anyhow. And yeah, it's pretty quick. So that's been the best one so far.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think tacos are a great one. I've been on the quest to like make like the best like steak burger, like a really thin patty with like the crispy edges. That's been my quest recently, is how can I make Steak and Shake or Freddy's at home? Like that's what I'm trying to get to. So I did a little bit better. I think it's going to be best in a cast iron versus the grill, but you have to like make sure your beef's thawed out enough, because we bought a half a cow. So we have, cow parts for days at the house.
Yeah.
And, which is great. It was so much cheaper. Like we paid more up front, but it was $5.50 a pound versus paying like $7 a pound. So it
right.
All beneficial that way. And that came with steaks and yada, yada. But like you have to make sure everything's thawed out so you can really smush that patty down. So that's been my big thing, is like, how can I make the perfect steak burger at home? Because I crave like shoestring French fries and a hamburger like once every other week. Like I just like I'm a good carnivore. I like a good hamburger, and I'm on my quest to make the best steak burger I can.
Love that. Yeah. Love that. So you have the weight and everything where you smash it down, you're on the flat.
Oh
flat
yeah.
Top?
So I do, but like my weight actually has like a little lip in it. So it doesn't get as thin as I want. So I take the spatula after I've kind of rubbed it on the heat, and then I push it down and cut through the beef if it's a little too heavy, or if it's not thawed out enough. That'll help me thaw it down, and then I use the weight to push in. So
okay.
Yeah, little tips I'm teaching myself, tricks I'm teaching myself along the way, because I'm not always prepared to like have everything thawed out. And I hate defrosting meat in the microwave. It just turns gross.
Yeah.
It's just not, but like cooking is such a happy place for me. Like I love the control of the kitchen. It's like, and that's like the only time my creative mind comes to bear. So it's like, I take that time and I cook and enjoy every moment I can possibly in there.
Yeah. You mentioned the microwave. We actually, when we moved into this new house, there was no spot for a microwave. So we've been here a year and a half and have no microwave.
Ooh, how do you do popcorn?
We got an air popper thing. Like,
there you go.
Honestly, like aside from like a few things here and there where it's nice just to reheat, we have like a little toaster oven type of deal, and then a regular toaster and the stove and all that stuff. But like for the most part, like I don't miss it. And I think that, we kind of go back and forth. We're like, should we just get a small one? We'll put it back in like the pantry or something. And it's like more oftentimes or not, it's like, we'll just reheat it on the stove, or we'll put it in the toaster oven. That's it. So
yeah, because I mean, like a Hot Pocket or anything that's good, you can use a toaster oven for. And you don't. And shout out to Northern Kentucky on Hot Pockets. A lot of people don't know that, but just shout out. Thought I'd just give a little shout out. I think
that's all I lived on in college.
Hot Pockets and like the Red Baron pizza, individual pizzas. Yeah. Oh man,
you just inevitably burn the roof of your mouth every single time.
Yeah,
first bite.
But it was amazing. Like
yeah,
oh, man. Yeah, and then like you had ramen and like a couple cans of Chef Boyardee, and you were set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that takes me back, and it makes me hungry. Now that we're talking about it, it's like sometimes in as an adulthood, I'm like, oh, I would love to go back and eat the crap that I did in college or in in high school. But then I'm like, I'm going to probably have heartburn and indigestion for years after I do that, so I just can't do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the thrill of it is short lived until
yeah, until you're like, can I get an antacid, please?
Exactly. I need some Tums.
Yeah. Oh man. No, this is the kind of conversations you're going to get this season on Off Hours with Bourbon Lens season 2. So Jake, super thankful for you all to partner up with us again to make this happen. And it's been awesome to have you as a host, and look forward to hosting a few more episodes so we can get the season completed, and it'll be rolling out. And then there'll be some great content following in the following weeks that'll take you throughout your summer. So Jake, again, thank you. And thank you all to the listeners for today. If you want to learn more about Off Hours, you can go to @DrinkOffHours on all their social medias. And if you want to learn more about Bourbon Lens, you can go to @Bourbon Lens on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And we'd greatly appreciate it if you give us a 5-star review and a like on this. It just helps us know that y'all are loving this and you would like to see season 3. So until next time, cheers.